for the way in which they had been treated during their time in prison. And what is interesting about Mullah Zaif is that he had diplomatic status, and he ended up in Guantanamo Bay. It was quite shocking that this would happen to an international diplomat, but apparently international law was ignored and often flouted and abused in its own way, and it had its own repercussions. I mean, it's not without coincidence that hostages in Iraq are often dressed up in orange suits. And as I say, thankfully, none of that had happened when I was being held. I do know that some of the Taliban were furious that I was being released when I was, because on the first night of bombing, hospitals had been hit, which takes me right back to the opener, where I said, you know, that it's important to have journalists on the ground to be the eyes and ears of conflicts. But I hope that answers your question. I mean, I have worked behind the scenes a few times now on hostage situations in Afghanistan, which happily have had a fruitful outcome. Sadly, a couple of the Koreans did die, but you don't go into a Muslim country and try and convert Muslims to Christianity, not when they're starving. And you know, the days of the rice Christians, I thought, had gone, where you know, you went with a bag of rice in one hand, the Bible in the other, and if you want the rice, well, read this first or convert or whatever. The people in Afghanistan desperately need our help, not military intervention. They need aid, they need support. They've had more than 2 decades of war. Their country is smashed, and I find it rather repugnant that an alien religion, or people purveying an alien religion, would ruthlessly target vulnerable people in this way. And I thought actually that the days of the rice Christians were over, and I'm very sad that it's returning. Oh, being hauled off slaves. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for coming out. Thank you for being a great audience. I hope you all took something away from her experience and her talk. Just as a reminder, we have the rest of the events going on for the rest of the week. If I could just highlight one of the events. On Thursday night, we're having a very special guest with us, just as Sister Yvonne. Sheikh Khalid Yassin is going to be speaking about the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, as she mentioned in her lecture, as a historical figure. Not so much the religious side of things, but who was he in history and how did that go about happening. So I would highly encourage everybody to come out. It's Thursday night at 6:30 in HSLH. It's in the ghettos. It's next to the Science Library, Henry Schneiderman Lecture Hall. Please try to make it if you can. It'll give you a much better understanding of where a Muslim comes from. Again, thanks for being such a great audience. I hope to see you guys for the rest of the week. And I end in the Islamic greeting of peace. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.